How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
Well, that was simply superb from South Africa. They were clinical and they have put down a statement for the rest of the tournament that they mean business. They've humbled Afghanistan, brushed them aside quite easily by 106 runs. And we look back at an Afghanistan side that we did have with some expectations given their last performance at an ICC men's one-day event, but just not up to the mark against South Africa. This is Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Match Day. We'll hear from Aaron Finch in a moment. Before that, Wasim Jaffer. It almost seemed like men versus boys for a large part of that game. That's how good South Africa were today.
Yeah, they were absolutely faultless, played a perfect game, came out and bowled, really brilliant length, which made it difficult. The start couldn't get going. Rahmanullah Gurbaz, Ibrahim Zadran, much was expected from them, but they didn't give them an inch and a professional performance.
Yeah, Finchy, I think that's a good word, isn't it? Professional from South Africa. Didn't let Afghanistan have any real period of play where they could get back in this game.
No, they didn't. They were clinical right throughout. It was a fantastic performance, like Wasim said. Bat, ball, field. What you'd expect from them at the moment, the way that they've played their cricket over the last couple of years, and been getting closer and closer to clinching an ICC title. They just showed their real class today, and that was on the back of no Heinrich Klaasen as well, which was a big out in the lead up to the game. So expect him to be back in the next couple of matches. But overall, they bowled brilliantly as well.
Let's talk about the early plans. They clearly came well prepared for what could trouble Afghanistan's batters, who looked very uncomfortable with those hard lines, Finchy.
Yeah, they certainly did, and I mean that's probably the point of difference with the South African attack as well. They've got guys that are very tall, they get good bounce, and I mentioned it in the halfway show. They just didn't want to overpitch. That's the easiest way on wickets. That there might be a little bit of inconsistent bounce, but once you're into the wicket, you use that height to your advantage. They were simply brilliant. They were disciplined and they executed, and they never deviated away from their plans.
Rabada, when you can almost tell the difference when Rabada's up for it, ready for it, he's running in, he bowls some gas. On other days, sometimes he goes missing. This was the Rabada that the world loves to see.
Yeah, and you could see that he was speaking to the batters as well. You don't see that very often with Rabada, but he was, in their face, speaking to them right from the first over. So, he means business, and he bowled like that. Didn't give them any width. He was just around that fourth stump line and pretty relentless.
Good energy from South Africa, now that you point that out through. Catching even that little bit of needle that they had against Afghanistan.
Yeah, definitely. And absolutely faultless. Afghanistan were not so good in the field, but South Africa were a very professional unit, whether it was with the ball, with the bat, with the field as well.
What does this do for what's already a team that many of us are considering will make to the top four, but to have this kind of performance and those sorts of skills that they've displayed, Finchy, with the ball, and the point you mentioned that they've got 300 plus without Klaasen, what does it do for the South African mood?
Yeah, that'll give them a lot of confidence, and I was a little bit critical of their preparation leading into this. I thought that they could have had guys come and play some ODI cricket in Pakistan in the lead up to the Champions Trophy, but they proved today that they were right on from the start. It just gives you confidence that everybody in your group is where they need to be, and I guess as a captain and as a selection, that gives you a lot of confidence that you're able to go away and then select a side specific for conditions and specific for an opposition, and that's a real luxury to have. I mean, sometimes you get into a position where you might have to be carrying one or two players, but they were all right on today. They were excellent. You couldn't fault their performance.
Let's talk a little bit about Afghanistan now, and whether we were expecting too much from them given their last performance, whether they just ran into perhaps one of the teams of the tournament already. Wasim, Afghanistan?
Yeah, there were a lot of things expected from them because the way they performed in the last two ICC World Cups. It was expected, but they didn't turn up today. Probably you can't say that they didn't have match practice because they were playing. They had a very good lead up in the ODI tournament. They beat South Africa as well. But today they were way short of, what we expect from them.
Is it about not being able to handle the pace that South Africa had, or would they look at this game and think, our best chance is if we don't let teams get 300 plus against us? Did they lose the game in the first innings?
I think so, yeah. We did talk about that. Afghanistan is somebody whose best chance is probably chasing 260, 270 rather than 300, unless somebody had an outstanding game. But they were way behind the way they bowled. Even their spinners, which is their best chance when the spinners bowled well. But I thought they were way below par in that department as well. The fielding was way short of what we expect from them, and 320 or 316 is way too much if their top batters don't get going.
Did we perhaps also overestimate how Afghanistan might be a threat in these conditions? But what we're seeing of conditions, Finchy, if bowlers like Rabada and Janssen are going to get the ball where they did today and trouble them, rush them, and it's not quite turned to the degree that perhaps Afghanistan spinners would have wanted, these aren't necessarily conditions that are suited to Afghanistan's strength?
No, I think the ball still turned enough. There was absolutely enough there, like there was in the first game in Karachi as well when New Zealand played Pakistan. I just think overall they didn't quite bowl well enough. I mean, Rashid was decent, but he still went for 60 without a wicket. He got hurt off the back foot. In these conditions when the ball's just turning a little bit and you do have that mystery element to your bowling, you have to just be that touch fuller. Make batsmen make a decision off the front foot. As soon as they're allowed to sit back, you've got options both sides of the wicket, and they did that beautifully. And Noor Ahmed, he was poor with the ball today. He was very, very loose. But overall, they were just beaten by a better side on the day. A team that's experienced. They've got a lot of bases covered with their side. So overall, I think they can go back and say, yeah, we didn't bat well enough, bowl well enough, but the fielding, that was really poor, like Wasim said as well. So they weren't on.
Does this dent their chances against Australia and England as well? The fact that they were not in the contest, or is it possible to say there's enough that this team can still cause one or two upsets against two formidable teams?
Yeah, absolutely. They can still cause upsets. They're a good side. We've seen it when they play well. They're right up and about. They were just off the mark today, and I guess now with the net run rate, they probably have to push a little bit harder as well, which can make it more challenging. Especially their batters. You understand that you probably have to win by 40, 50, 60 runs each game to drag that net run rate back just to get it to equal, and that plays a big part in tournament cricket as well. So, it won't make any difference to the upcoming games, though. They'll still go in with confidence. They know that they've been really close against Australia in the past in one-day cricket, and they've beaten England before as well. So they'll still have confidence, and if you win two games, that gets you through. So they're still got to be looking at it that way.
Yeah, positives, I guess. Rehmat Shah has shown the rest of the team how to bat. Good innings?
Yeah, very good, very good. He was there till the end, looked solid, even though it took his time, but that was the demand because the wickets were falling from the other end. But like, Finch said, you could turn up next game and it could be totally different ball game altogether. So this team has a quality. They just need to turn up and perform like we expect.
They relies heavily, you think, on Ibrahim Zadran and Gurbaz. When they don't fire, it just does not seem like a team that has enough in the rest of the resources.
I mean, they've done well when that opening partnership has worked because it has given them 100 plus, even 200 plus partnerships. So when they get going, everybody else get confidence. But I think the other guys also need to stand up.
Gurbaz likes to charge down, beaten for pace today. Is there a method on how batters ought to prepare against South Africa, Finchy? Maybe more like you, sit back and just whack it on the back foot?
Yeah, I think you have to hang back in the crease, particularly against someone like Rabada. And Giddy, who's just that little bit slower than Rabada. He's in the mid-130s as opposed to mid-140s. So he's someone that you may be able to get down the wicket at. But Rabada's such a difficult bowler to run down the wicket and play with any kind of control. You're throwing caution to the wind there. And Gurbaz can do some serious damage off the back foot as well. So, I mean, maybe it's a tactic where you give yourself a little bit of room and look to take him over the offside as opposed to running down it. There's not a real lot of value in it, even with mid-on and mid-off up inside the circle. It's just too high risk to a bowler that gets so much bounce.
Let's go back to the first innings now. And what were the most impressive aspects of South Africa's batting unit? We spoke of Ryan Rickleton, but maybe spend some time on the rest as well. Everyone seemed to chip in, 350s after that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you need. If you want to post 300 plus scores, you need contributions from everyone, especially your top four, and I think they did that. Three of them got 50 plus, and the way they, batted against spin, even their spinners weren't at their best, but the way they rotated the strike, the way they found boundaries, I think that was a positive.
Yep. Finchi, South Africa's batting effort?
Yeah, the way that they just continued the momentum. They had a really good foundation with the second wicket partnership between Rickelton and Temba Bavuma. But then the new batters coming in, they maintained the momentum. They didn't allow the innings to just drift at any point. So I think that's a real positive. That shows that they're prepared to play unselfish cricket at times as well. So that's a real positive. And they've certainly laid down a marker in this tournament. They've got a lot of bases covered with their 11, with their whole squad, but also with Heinrich Klaasen coming back in. That'll give them a lot of confidence as well.
Who does he come in for, is the question now, and it cannot be Rickelton, surely?
No, it can't be Rickelton. Well, they've all performed. Take your pick. Whoever misses out is going to be unlucky. Probably Dezorzi at the top there. Bavuma just goes back to the top, and Russie goes to 3, and you just shuffle it that way. But whoever misses out is incredibly unlucky.
Yeah, it's actually perhaps a better batting lineup as well. Markram's batting 5 in this team right now. You get Bavuma going one position up, Klaasen comes in, and Dezorzi will just have to miss out now with Rickelton starting the way he did.
Yeah, unfortunately, because he's grabbed his opportunity, and Klaasen has to come in, so it could be probably Zorzi, unfortunately.
It's actually really exciting to think of what Rickelton will have to offer, not just in this tournament, but the IPL fans will be waiting to see if he gets a start for the Mumbai Indians. And the Wankhede better than anyone. This could be just the kind of player that Quinton de Kock was.
Possibly, yes. He's got all the shots, he hits down the ground, has short square of the wicket, obviously being a South African, played on bouncy wickets. Wankhede is an ideal pitch for anybody, small boundaries and value for runs. So he'll be licking his lips.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done, Ryan Rickelton. Discussed him quite a bit in our halftime show, but he's going to be player of the match in his first ICC game. So good on him. Now we've had 3 days and we still haven't had the thriller that ODI cricket has uniquely in store. When you get a thriller in 100 overs, it makes the whole day worthwhile. Otherwise, sometimes it can be a hard watch. And I can understand that. So it's not happened. Is it happening tomorrow, Wasim Jaffer? Before I go to Aaron Finch, is it going to be a thrilling Australia-England game tomorrow?
We would want that. We want a close game. Australia with the star players missing, and England want to fight back and play their best cricket. That could be tomorrow.
Are you going for England tomorrow?
I did say in the Hindi preview that I am backing England to win.
Excellent.
Sorry, Finchy.
You like that, Finchy, because he did back Afghanistan all day today, so that augurs well.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I understand that. I think if you match up the two sides side by side on paper, England definitely have the advantage. Their batting order has started to bat together a lot more. Once they start to work out the method that they want to play one-day cricket, then that could really click for them. But overall, their bowling unit's very good. So I'm still going for Australia, obviously, but England do match up very well against Australia, particularly this Australian cricket team.
You don't mean a word of that, the first bit. You were just being...
I do. I honestly do.
You're just being a professional analyst. Give me the real feeling now.
No, they do match up well. That's the thing. I mean, when you take Mitchell Stark out, you obviously replace him with Spencer Johnson at the top, and he's got the ability to knock over a top order as well. But I think with Butler going back into the middle order, there's a bit more stability there as well. So it'll be a really good contest. I just think England, with the experience that they've got, they'll look to target some of the newer Australian bowlers, and it'll be a fascinating contest. But Australia win off the last ball, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, oh you bet. All right, thank you very much, Aaron Finch, and then see what he's doing there. Just keep keep all the hype, keep all the attention on England, and then let's see how they evolve. Finchy, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed your day in Lahore. I know I saw your Insta story and you've had a nice couple of meals, so you'll sleep well tonight.
Absolutely, I will. Thanks, guys.
Wasim, cheers, Finchy. See you again soon. Wasim Jaffer, thank you very much. See you again very soon in our studios. And of course, Australia, England in what is going to be quite the weekend. Rivalry weekend, Australia, England tomorrow, India, Pakistan on Sunday. Join us for build-up for Australia versus England just around the toss on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Matchday. Good night.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.